Hi, Michelle. How you doing? Oh, thanks so much for getting the work in. Okay, so a couple of comments on this piece here. I think it's good. The main thing is that the image is good. It seems to be adjusted just fine. You don't have any areas that are overly dark or overly light. Tonal distribution is very good, and the color range is such that it's very realistic, very believable. Excellent job. There's a couple of things I want to talk about layout and in general. I mean, basically, you got it. You've done what is asked of you, what was asked of you. So excellent job. In terms of layout, I think this is a more effective example. I really do, because it's not centered. In design, centered is not always, well, actually, it's rarely the most interesting solution. And the reason why is because centered anything creates these symmetrical negative spaces on either side of the elements on the page. And that, as we know from basic visual communications, that's not the most interesting situation. Asymmetry is always more interesting than symmetry, including negative space, as we can clearly see right here. This is a more interesting layout. Much, much more interesting, wouldn't you say? I can clearly see it. Yes, definitely. I think this is great left aligned. Definitely. Only suggestion I would go from here is this, and you're fine. I mean, this isn't a class in marketing. Nobody's going to look at your promotion and your call to action and say, hey, this is this or whatever. I'm looking at the basic essence and the objectives of the class, and that is to be able to adjust and place assorted files in other types of files. I know you had a question about why are we laying this out in Illustrator, and that's an astute question. It is, because in the real world, we would lay this out in InDesign. Not in Photoshop or in Illustrator, rather in InDesign. It could be laid out in Illustrator quite feasibly, quite successfully too. And even as a one-page ad, it may even be laid out in Illustrator. But the point is that the objectives call for that you show proficiency in being able to place different types of files in different types of files, if that makes sense. Okay, real quick suggestion where I would go from here is I would simply let me just back down from there just a little bit. I would take that logo right there and take this whole thing. Since you have the type left right aligned, I would place the logo on the lower left, and what that's going to do is it's going to counter that balance. It's going to counterbalance the weight of the type being pushed to the right alignment. Then I would take that contact information right here, and I would align it with the bottom, align it with the shell, and just place that right there. That way you have a clear view of what you really want to have a clear view. Right now in this situation, in this ad, the image, of course, is doing most of the talking. That's what's going to get people to stop and say, hey, what's that? You know what I'm saying? All right, awesome job. Thank you so much. Any questions? I'm right here. Thanks.